Hey, how you doing everybody? Sarasota Tim, coming to you from beautiful Sarasota, Bradenton, Florida here on the West Coast. And it's Memorial Weekend, and it's a hot one, but I'm pretty comfortable right now in the shade. I've got my awning out. I live in an RV. I am a minimalist, and I am also on Social Security. I started getting my Social Security when I was 62 years old. And actually, I've discovered that that's what most people do. I was looking on the internet because I've made a few videos that have gotten lots of views about Social Security and promoting the fact that people should collect Social Security as soon as they can at age 62, because you never get any more money by waiting, you just lose money. And I discovered something very interesting that goes in line with everything that I've been preaching about getting Social Security at 62. Now let me make a disclaimer right off the bat. There's only one reason I always say that somebody should not collect Social Security at 62 at the earliest possible age. And that is if you're making so much money and you love your job that you want to keep doing. And that's one of the reasons why people are waiting longer than the age 62 now to collect Social Security. You say, wait a minute, Tim, I thought you always said get it at 62. Well, I do, I say that. But there is a trend showing that the percentage of people is growing that are waiting to the age 65. Full retirement age, if you're born in 1960 or later, is 67 years old. Now, let me tell you what this video is about. Unlike the other Social Security videos that I've made, this one is to explain the trickery, the con, the scam that they're trying to pull over people's eyes to get you to wait, like it's always been. First of all, let's back up. People that are born in, earlier than 1938 or 35 or somewhere in back in there, full retirement age for decades was 65 years old. And then when the government found out that they were cheating everybody and spending all the money and we might run out, they have raised the full retirement age to 67. And I'm going to go over some numbers, but I'm going to go over some reasons that this new trend is waiting, and to maybe give you pause to think about whether you should do that or not. So full retirement age used to be 65. It's 67 now if you're born after 1960. You know, crow around here crowing. Where's my gun? If you're like me, my full retirement age is before 67 because I was born in 58. It's actually August of this year. This is the month of May. So I've got a little bit, a couple more months or so, and I'll be full retirement age. What does that mean? It means that the earnings cap is over. You no longer have to worry about going over your income limit when you're collecting Social Security. And so that's going to be one of the reasons I'm going to explain that the government, with their new rules and how they've changed it over the years. Okay, backing up, full retirement age was 65. Also, did you realize that 60%, an overwhelming majority of people, collected Social Security at 62? During the time that full retirement age was 65, people jumped in 36 months earlier and got their Social Security. 60%. Now, it is still the majority of people collecting at 62. But there has been a decrease in the percentage, and I'm going to explain why. And let me see what my notes here say. Should I talk about the math first or the reasons? So, they had changed it, right, to 67. So now, with 62 still being the earliest age you can collect, and it's now 5 years till full retirement age, the reduction that they tell you lose is 30%. And so that, made people not want to take a 30% reduction, so they're waiting till 65. A lot of people wait till 65 because they want Medicare. The health insurance is a big issue for some people because they're already ill in their 60s and they need insurance, either with their job that they have now or when they get Medicare. But mainly, a lot of people think about what they promote on how you're going to get so much less, 30% less than you would get. And I'm going to show you right now, it isn't less, but it's more. You get more if you collect still at 62 than if you collect at 65, and certainly more than you would collect at 67. And so the percentage of people collecting was 60% up to 1998. In 2022, and it all has to do with the Great Reset and the pandemic and all that, people have started waiting a little longer. I'm going to tell you about some other reasons. Plus them raising it to 67 years old for full retirement. People being psyched out that they're going to cheat themselves if they, collect it 60 months earlier at 62. But in 2022, the number from 60% of the people collecting has dropped to 29%. And the amount of people collecting at age 65 is only 13% currently. But that's the shift and the reduction from what used to be in 2022. And then those that are waiting to that age 70 where you can get 8% more a year if you don't collect it even at full retirement age, and you just let it sit there, and now you're letting all of these years go by that you never collected a penny to get a little bit more money that you'll never get back and make up what you lost. Only 4% of people wait till then. So you got 4% wait until 70. You only got 13% now that are collecting at 65. And then you've got 29% still collecting, the majority, at 62. So you say, well, why do you need to make the video? Everybody's still doing it. Well, more is shifting, and I'm going to tell you why. This is the reasons, before I give you the numbers and prove to you don't get any more money. Okay. People are waiting because they increased the retirement age, full retirement age, to 67. And then they give you this little sugar on the end of a string, a little candy on the end of a string there, they dangle in front of you. About 8% more you get each year over 67 if you wait till 70. So that makes some people go up a little higher. They keep thinking about, I'm going to get more. They don't know that they might die or get sick or not have the ability to get out and enjoy their life and quit their jobs. They say people are living longer. Now this one I got to take issue with. The average lifespan is like 73 or 75 years old for an American male. And for them to have the audacity to say that we're living longer and that's why people are waiting is really an insult. Look at the foods. I mean, why do we have to have Robert F. Kennedy now explain to everybody? There was a big thing that just came out yesterday about all of these foods that you should definitely avoid. They are poisoning us with the food. They're getting away with it. The big pharmaceutical is giving drugs to people that are more harm than good. You get so many of these side effects. And people are getting from the food that we're eating and the lifestyle they're living and the lack of exercise and the whole gamut of things. If you don't die, you're going to be, less mobile than you used to be, because look at other cultures, the way they eat. I mean, the food, we're an engine, and what we put in that gives us the energy is we're going to get a result of. It gets in your bloodstream. You can't deny the fact that if you eat crap, you're going to be crap. So this living longer, they've told people, oh, you're living longer, so you can wait. You don't want to outlive your savings or whatever. Baloney. And then there is the 401. This is the big one too. In 1998, when people were collecting at 62 by 60%, since then, we've been introduced to 401. 401 wasn't around. The retirement used to be 62 years old from your job, and you got a pension. And that's really all there was for those that had jobs like that earned one. 401s came into play in the most recent couple of decades, or however it's been. It hasn't been when I was a kid. There was no such thing. So now with these 401s, people are saying, well, I'm set. and then people were doing different things for investments in the stock market. But mainly the 401 is what people are building into, and they're saying, well, Social Security is beans. I got this 401, so I can just keep building. And again, all people are doing is throwing away years of their life. They forget that part, that they throw away years of their life that they can't get back, weeks, months, years, that they continue to do the grind. They're so caught up into the grind, they think they're going to live longer. They think they get the 401. They get caught up in the money, and then you get sick or something happens, and I know plenty of people that would give all they have, whether they have a little or billions, to be able to walk and stand up like I'm doing right now. So don't tell me that money is the most important thing. Health is wealth, and your mind. Okay, so the 401 was another thing that they came out with, they promote now, and that's making people wait until 65. And then check this out, this is really interesting. The earnings limit penalty, okay, because at 62, until you become full retirement age, if you did quit your job and start drawing your Social Security, you're only allowed to make so much money. But what people forget is, one, you still got Social Security coming in, and you can still work. So if you're going to keep working anyway and delay it so you don't go over the earnings limit, why not work 20, if it's 20 grand a year you're going to get from Social Security or something like that, why not work $20,000 worth of time less each year and work just part-time? Or get yourself a little part-time side hustle. Work for yourself to make the difference, because the income limit is only applicable to your adjusted gross income if you are self-employed. If you're a W-2 person, it's going to be your gross income. And it's $23,400 in 2025. So, if you're collecting 20 grand in Social Security and you can make 23.4 or even more if you're self-employed but have deductions, I mean, that's a pretty good living if you don't have any debt. And that's the key. So earnings limit penalty, and let me tell you something. If you do go over the earnings limit and they take $1 back for every $2 you go over 23,400, you don't lose that. You get that back. Your earnings, your check that you get every month from Social Security is recalculated at your full retirement age, and they return that money to you that they took back. So you don't lose it. And then your Social Security check will even be higher. All right. It could be, they recalculate it, but you get your money back. If they were to take something back from you because you made too much money at the age of 64 or 65 before you became 67, and at 67 you'll recalculate your thing and you'll get it back. Also, they say in the day people were collecting 62 and they're collecting at 65 now because jobs are becoming less laborious. We don't have the hard, back-breaking, sweaty, hard, killing you jobs. There's still those kinds out there. But a lot of people, what? They're working in a computer in a cubicle. And they figure, well, in the air conditioning here, I can just keep on working into my 60s, so I'll postpone my Social Security. Again, mistake probably. I'm going to explain why. Less labor jobs. Okay. So only 4% wait until their full retirement age, and 62 is still the most popular, and the people that are collecting at 65 is 13.1%, a growing number. For these reasons, one's the 401, they raised the retirement age to 67, and people are saying, oh my gosh, it's a 30% reduction. Well, you know what? I'm going to show you what the reduction is actually. It's less than you think. People got 401s, they think they're living longer, they're telling us. They want that 8% increase to age 70, but they generally start cashing out at 65 and never see it anyway. Okay, so in 1998, 60% of the people collected at 62. In 2022, 29% are collecting, still the majority. Okay, here we go. At age 62, you get a 30% reduction let's say you make $2,000, you're going to get $2,000 a month, as an example, okay? If you were to wait till full retirement age, 67. Forget that 70 business. At 67, if you waited, you would get your full 100% retirement at $2,000. 30% less means that you would be drawing $1,400 a month. Okay? Very simple math. 70% of $2,000 is $1,400. I have it written right here. I don't want to lose my train of thought. Okay. Okay, that's over with. The 30%, if you take it at 65, not at 67, and you were going to get $2,000 at 67, you would take a, where is it? A 13.3% reduction. So 30% less at first earliest age, 62. And if you go to 65, which is the biggest trend now, not 67, not full retirement, and certainly not 70. That's a very rare, slim margin out there that do that. And only 13.3% is the reduction that you would get if you start at 65. So they think they're going to get a lot more money. It's not, that's like from the 30%. So in other words, if it's $2,000 a month, I don't want to lose you here. You get $2,000 a month at 67. If you take it at 62, you're going to get $1,400. If you take it at 65, you're going to get $1,734. $334 more by these people that are waiting till 65. Forget the 70 and all that. Forget the 67 full retirement age. Still, hardly anybody's doing that. They're still getting it at 62, the majority, but it's shifting a little bit to 65 because they want $337. We used to talk about on these videos how people got $500, $600, $700 by waiting till full retirement age. Apparently no one's really ever, that many people have been doing that. So at 65, which is the new second place, and reducing the number of people that are getting at 62 because of the reasons I just mentioned, 401, they think they're living longer, they got the air-conditioned cubicle job, they can just keep on getting it and making their regular money. $334. Now let's take that number. Remember, the one guy's going to get $1,400, and the other guy is going to get $1,734. $334 more. If you, I don't want to mess it up. Here we go. I got it right here. Don't worry. Don't give up on me. $1,400 times 12 months is $16,800 a year. And that's without you working and making the $23,400 you're allowed to make, or more if you're self-employed. So $16,800. In 8 years, from the age of 62 to 70, you know that big number where you get also the extra 8% and all that, you wait. In 8 years, the person that took it at 62 would have already put in his pocket, in the bank, $134,400 up to the age of 70 because he started at 62. The person that waited at 65, not 67, gets $20,808 a year at $1,734 a month. And if you count 5 years from that to the age 70, as well as the person that started at 62, that's been collecting for 8 years, the person that gets the bigger amount, the $334 more, would have collected $104,040. Person 62 collected $134,400. Person 2 that waited got $104,040, and they're both 70 years old now. Okay? You're definitely in your final chapters of your life. You're definitely in your final chapters of your strength, your abilities, your mobility. Unless you're Jack LaLanne, you are definitely seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. That's called heaven. But let's go a step further. That's a $30,360 more money that you get by collecting at 62 and only getting $1,400 a month. $30,360. By the time you're 70, you're still 30 grand ahead of any idea of waiting till you're 65 or 67 or much less 70. You can imagine how far behind you'd be if you waited that many more years and never collected, even $1,400 a month. Okay? Now let's go another step. Let's go on out to where we're probably about done, for the most people, because we only have 1.9% of the people in the country that are 85 years old or older. But let's go to 80 years old. Okay? The guy making $1,680 a year at the $1,400 a month, in 18 years, from 62 to 80, will have collected $302,400. Stay with me. 3024. $302,400, has enjoyed it at the very first day possible, as well as kept working. And remember, if you can work and you're still going to be this great person in your later years, you know, like they say, and you can work in the cubicle or sit around the air conditioning somewhere, you can still be making more money on top of that. You're not out there digging ditches. Okay? Now, the guy that waited until 65, just 3 years later, that took the 13.3% reduction, didn't get the whole 30% additional because collected at 65. That's the new trend. Not 67, not 70. You can count them on one hand how many people do that. I'm being facetious. That $20,808 a year compared to the $16,800 a year the guy at 62 got, in 15 years, because he waited 3 more years, he will have collected $312,120. He passed. He went over the person at 62 by $9,720. All the way to 80 years old. So basically the last year, a few months of drawing checks to make $9,720 more at $334 more a month. It took him to 80 years old. That's if you collected at 65. That's like waiting anything. It's even less if you wait till you're 67. So, I missed one. I knew it. I knew it. I went to 80. I wanted to go to 72. Let me back up one. That's all right. You don't mind. The guy at collecting $1,400 a month, $1,680 a year. I have an example on here. In 10 years to 72 years old. The average lifespan is 73, 75, something like that for a man in America. In 10 years, if I started collecting my Social Security, which I did, and I'm 67 this year, at 72, I got a few more years. At 72, if I was getting the $1,400 a month, I would have collected $168,000. The person that waited till they were 65, they got the $1,734 a month, that's getting $20,808 a year. In 7 years, they'll be 72. So this was before I went to 80, this was my other example. I jumped ahead of myself when I gave you the 80, where you made more money at 80. But look, at 72 years old, the person that waited 3 more years till 65 received $145,656. The other person that started at 62, $168,000. That means that since I've been collecting, if I was getting $1,400 a month and you started collecting today, or started collecting when you were 65, I would still have $22,344 more in my pocket in the first 10 years of collecting. 22,000. You got to go all the way to 80 to go ahead of me, and you're only 9,000. But 10 years, a full decade of collecting your Social Security at 62 years old versus someone that does wait till 65, they got their Medicare, they only got a 13.3% reduction in what they were going to get at full retirement age, which nobody does. You still lose $22,344. And you're 72 years old now. So now you got to live 72 through 80 I don't know the people that you know. I live in South Florida. I see a lot of people in their senior years, and they're not jumping and running down the streets. They're not, you know, I see them at the gym. I don't see any 80-year-olds, okay? I hope I live to be 100. I'm 67 this year. So I'm just saying, I've slowed down. I got a big camper right here that it's going to take a lot of motivation for me to want to hook my truck up to it and start traveling again. Those things seem a little bit, not overwhelming, but a little bit like, do I want to do that? Do I, you know, not like I can't drive. I mean, of course, my eyesight in one eye is pretty bad. I couldn't drive at night. So a lot of things start happening when you become 72 years old. And that's where you got to leave this math. Tear this up and throw it away. We've already heard it. You're going to get more money at 62. Plain and simple. And what you're going to get that's more than money is your life. How much is that worth for you to tell your job, not to shove it, but hey, I'm checking out. I'm going to go see my grandkids. I'm getting me an RV. I'm going to go travel and see the Grand Canyon and other places in our beautiful country. I'm going to grow a garden. I'm going to go sit on the beach. I'm going to read books. I'm going to do whatever the heck I want to do because I'm out. I'm out of this traffic every day. I'm out of this cubicle. I'm out of people looking over my shoulder. I'm tired of being micromanaged. Who wants to work if they don't have to? Nobody. Somebody, but mainly nobody. I mean, but you need money. So you say, well, if you have to work to make ends meet with that small Social Security check, that's not small when you add it to the same amount that you can make working, like falling out of bed, passing out golf carts at a golf course, getting free golf, or renting beach chairs at the beach to somebody, or maybe still stay with that cubicle job, answering the phone for somebody that when they're real busy for the first few hours of the morning, and then you're out of there. How about go stock some shelves in a refrigerator at the grocery store, at Aldi's or something, and unpack some boxes and put some stuff on the shelf at early morning hours or graveyard or whatever you want to do. Walmart, Target, be a greeter. I mean, there's a million things. You can watch people's houses, work for yourself, be an entrepreneur. You can even you could be a retired mechanic and have all these tools and pick up little jobs from people that need automotive repair and they'll pay you, you know, on the side money. You know what I'm talking about? There's a million ways that you can make another couple of $3,000 a month, at least a couple of grand, like falling out of bed, you know, even if it was $1,500 plus your $1,500, you know, I get $1,800, and I was a low earner most of my life that I reported to the government because I had tax deductions. I was self-employed the entire life except in the car business the first 17 years. But they take your best 35 years of earnings, and that was probably a combination of when I was self-employed and the car business. I never made a ton of money. I was never no six-figure guy, and I get $1,800 a month. So if I make another 18 or the 23.4 I can make, well, this year I can make 60,000. The year you become full retirement, the year, not the day, not after you become full retirement age, but the year that you become full retirement age, you can make like 50, 60 grand. Forget the number. It's way up there. It's like double, over double of what you're allowed to make from 62 to your full retirement age. And also, the year you start collecting your Social Security, it doesn't matter what you made that year up until the point you get your first check, that you have to be concerned with how much you make each month thereafter for that year. So you get the 62 year beat where you can earn a lot of money. Let's say your birthday's in June, you got 6 months to make whatever you want to make. It doesn't go against you. And then you have to watch it for 6 months. And then you got to watch it when you're 63, 64, and 65. And then if you're going to be full retirement age in 66 in 8 months like me, that year you get to make the big money. Heck, next year it might be, you know, they keep raising it every year, how much money you can make between 62 and 67, and then they also make that increase on how much you can make on your full retirement year. And then after that, you're done. So, and then if you do go over, remember what I said earlier in the video, you don't lose it. They will take it back, and then they will withhold from your Social Security. And then when you have to wait. They don't give it back to you the next year. So if you go over your limit, you'll have to wait till you do become full retirement age. And then as soon as you do, the Social Security Administration will recalculate what they withheld from you and give you your money back with a new check amount. So many reasons to collect Social Security at 62, and the number one reason that's risen to the top that's caused people to wait till 65 is simply the fact that they've they've raised the full retirement age to 67, and people have been hearing about the penalty, the 30%, the reduction. You're gonna lose, when we see that you really win. You don't lose until you're so old that, and you're still gonna get the cost of living increases with your check every year. My $1,800 I get now is not what it was when I started. In fact, we had a big bump about, what, 3 years ago, where it went up like $150. That could happen again. You know, we have another high cost of living or inflation or something. Generally, it's not worth even mentioning, but we did get a big bump a few years ago. And you still get those raises with your check every year. So don't worry about what you're gonna lose by, you know, and yeah, they do add that to the ones that wanna wait till 65, but it doesn't matter. Math is math. You have to live a long, long time, and you have to lose your life to a job, your time that you dedicate to going somewhere, and you have to take a chance of losing your health, which is very likely to happen. If I drive that Honda right there, it's a very reliable car. I own a Honda. If I drive it long enough and I don't change the oil or I don't do tires, eventually they wear out. You have to fix things. Things will break. Our bodies, as we get older, we keep eating those terrible foods. We don't start being, you know, more cognizant of what we're eating and what they're selling us out there. That's what RFK is going to be doing now, and helping the future generations learn how to live longer by eating correctly and exercise. And these are things that I'm trying to implicate now, even though I was pretty active most of my life. There was a good period of time where I just kind of, you know, didn't. And I've got some issue with my eyes now. There's skin issues from living in the sun and being an offshore fisherman for years, that, you know, you never know when something might pop up that's going to be malignant, or, you know, something happens with your liver, your kidneys, diabetes, different things can, and then they start putting you on all these pills, and you got already 3 pills you take in the morning, then they give you 3 more, and now you're mixing all that up every morning, and you're putting it in your bloodstream, and you're getting the shakes, and you're thinking weird, and thoughts of suicide. And I mean, folks, it isn't worth it. What's worth it is to live your life today, because nobody's promised tomorrow. That way you're guaranteed to crush it.